Sunday supplement every
So,
morning.
we're back. Wolf Business Podcast Show thingy. Whatever it is. We're fucking back. Josh, you are Agden. Lloyd. And we've got a special guest today.
Very special.
Hello.
Very special. Not the specialist, but he's up there.
The special one.
So Mike Mclaren's
Michael
here today.
Mclaren.
He'll be talking to us
All the
about
way
his journey in the
from
industry.
Shields.
Yep.
Gala
In
Shields.
Scotland, that is.
South of Scotland, yeah.
Yeah, the borders.
That's not the accent.
No, go on.
The borders.
Borders.
Galley.
No, I'm just racist. That was just really bad. That was really bad.
Is this going up to Scotland?
Have you got the internet in Scotland yet? Then they can get it. Then they can get it. Yeah, so we are going to talk about Mike's journey into the fitness industry, into being self-employed, into being his own boss, and how it went, and moving to Manchester and everything.
It was an interesting story, mate. That's what I got on today, because he set up his self-employed fitness business in a completely new area in a different country.
Yeah.
In a different country. And
yeah.
started from scratch. Didn't know anybody here. And so if Mike can do it, basically anybody can do it, because he started from complete scratch without a network of people.
This guy's a fucking idiot if he can do it.
Essentially.
So it's quite an interesting story. And well, what you decide that.
Yeah, no, it's
solid.
solid. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Go for it, Mike.
Tell us the very beginnings
Yeah,
of how you got into the industry.
Yeah, why you wanted to get into PT?
Why? So, it was probably like most people I have somebody who enjoyed training. I enjoyed lifting weights. Obviously at the start as well, like a lot of PTs, starting off a little bit overweight, bit self-conscious, that kind of thing, and then I started to train, started to watch what I was eating, just the usual, sort of lost a bit of weight, felt like this is really good, I want to help other people do this. And yeah, then obviously where I'm from in Scotland, there's not really a lot going on, like it's quite a quiet kind of set in its ways type of place, so I knew I needed to get out, and Manchester ended up being the place.
It's for a girl, right?
There was a girl, yeah.
There's a girl here.
Where did you meet her?
This is a good one.
This is it. I think it was Bananas or car wash in Magaluf.
Magaluf at like 6 in the morning.
10 to 6 in the morning.
10 to 6.
I'm sure I got kicked out of the club. It was like the lights were coming on and that.
Yeah.
So it was quite weird. I think that's what I often kind of look back on that and think like.
You're not together, but you still speak to her, don't you?
Oh yeah,
because she's
still
obviously
friends.
lives around here.
Yeah, still friends. And she's probably watching this going, that would fuck.
Fucking friends.
She's probably commenting that.
Was you qualified at this point?
No, I wasn't that. I wasn't. It was the summer after. So I'd planned to do it that summer, but then I got to be honest, I was like 22 or 23 or something. I thought like holiday with the boys, or travelling to Edinburgh every weekend for 6 months. I was like, let's get our passports out. And I went to. I decided to go for the holiday that year, but it was the year after, and then by that point, obviously, I was travelling down to England anyways to see my girlfriend and that, so I kind of got a feel for Manchester. I'd been 2 or 3 times, and it was just a bit of a gut decision. Just think like, just go for it, just change everything. And obviously, I went around, applied
In the
for
deep
jobs.
end.
Yeah, and obviously it was you that I got the email off.
Yeah, I actually hired Mike in a past life. When I was team leader then, was I PTM then?
I think you were just team leader.
So I was basically interviewing and hiring people for lifestyle fitness in Manchester, as well as PT there. And I did a lot of interviews, interviewed a lot of people. And around the time that me and the guy we were doing it with then, Chris Gregory, won't mind me saying his name, we hired Mike and Ed Hansen at the same time, who's another coach now, top powerlifter. But they were the two, and I think we did 25 or 26 interviews over a month or so. We interviewed loads of fucking idiots. Like, loads of them were shit. And we, and in the companies like that, you have a target of people you hire, and they're sending emails of CVs, 20, 30 CVs, and we're filtering them through and getting down to, no, he's an idiot. He we can't hire these people. We were really picky, and so we were getting a bit of pressure from the top that we should have been hiring people, but it was really hard because we didn't like anybody we were hiring. And then Mike turned up, yeah.
So tell us, Mike.
I remember
you remember the day travelling down? What was that like for the interview?
This is the thing, like, so I might as well say, like, something there or not, but yeah, I called in sick at work. Like, they obviously had no idea. They hadn't.
He told me that.
The whole summer, like, they had no idea that I was even training to be PT or anything like that. Like, they'd ask about it to go out the weekend, and I'd just start like, coughing and I'm not really feeling well, mate. Like, I'm just gonna have a chill one this weekend, and I'd be up to Edinburgh every day. And so they didn't actually know. So I called in sick at work, and drove down. Like, I left my house at like 7 in the morning because it was that kind of. To me, it was that kind of thing where I need to be really early. But I got here about 4 hours early. But I spent about an hour of that driving around Deansgate. Sat-nav kept saying, like, Lifestyle Fitness is on the right.
It's a really hard place to find on the sat-nav.
No, it's not. I was screaming at it because I just kept going down Deansgate and then up. Is it St Peter Street or St Peter Street up around there? Then I'd cut back in and come underneath the bridge. I was proper like driving me nuts. I was probably like slamming it into the footwell of the car and then getting so annoyed. And so I came down. But I didn't think you realised I'd travelled from Scotland. I remember speaking and you kind of, because obviously I met one of the PTs first and I was about half an hour early, so I kind of walked around.
Yeah, it was well early, yeah.
And then you came and sat down and you kind of heard the accent and actually realised I'd...
Yeah, of course. And my big thing about when I was interviewing people was that I want them to take it seriously. A lot of PTs turn up. I told you that one of that girl once, right? Fuck,
you have told me, yeah. But
so,
I can't remember properly.
I always want to make people took it seriously. I took it seriously when I turned up for my interview with the manager then, and I was trying to be professional, and it was pretty thorough, the interview process for a gym. Pretty good for what the standard sort of gym is. They took you through. They give you a program. A case study. You have to do a program. It was a 3-stage interview process. So I want people to take it seriously. So I really appreciate that Mike had travelled and took it very seriously. Turned up early and stuff, yeah. So there was this one girl once. Yeah, in a shirt, yeah.
Shirt, trousers, shoes, a lot, mate.
So this one girl once, I can't remember her name, it doesn't matter because I wouldn't say it. I'd Facebook booked her already, so I knew she was, because I Facebooked everybody when their CV come through, because I wanted to see what they looked like. So I'd Facebooked this girl anyway, so I knew what she looked like. So I knew she was outside, and it's a commercial gym, so you have to put your code in, so she couldn't get in. So I went to open the door, she was looking at her phone, and I presumed that she was emailing me, because we were talking. I presumed she was emailing me to say, I'm here, and I can't get in. And I opened the door, and I popped my head out, and I said, is it whatever your name is? And she was like, yeah. I was like, oh, Lloyd, you're here to meet me? And she went, alright. And looked back down at her phone, and I was like, surely this is a mistake.
Yeah.
Right? And then, sorry, I met her in. I said, just take a seat, I'll be with you in a sec. So, do you want a drink or anything? She says, no. And I looked, and as I was behind her and I was walking away, she got her phone out, and she wasn't even doing anything. She was flicking past stuff, like through apps and that. Maybe it was a nervous thing, I don't know.
Just addicted.
But I was like, fuck, like, this is an interview. I know it's a gym, but this is an interview, isn't it? And the interview lasted about 10 minutes before I was like, right, this isn't for you. And walked her out. I asked her why, she was a fitness instructor, and I asked her why she wanted to be a PT. She said because she didn't want to work full time anymore.
Yeah, that's the motivation, eh?
I was like, this isn't for you.
No. So how was Mike's interview then?
I can't remember the first one. You probably remember it better than me. I was doing a lot of them. Good, because I gave him the second one.
9th of September.
Yeah, it was the date, everything.
Yeah. So it's just been over, what, 2 years?
It's all a bit 2 years ago. Probably this time today, actually, 2 years ago today, I had my stage 2. Because I remember I did my stage 2 and 3 together. I think because I was travelling.
Yeah, so they were supposed to come down 3 times, but because he was travelling so long, we did the 2 and 3 together. The 2 was we made talk to people on the gym floor, to see how they interacted with people, which he was obviously fine with. We trained him, beasted him a bit, then asked him to write a subject. So
yeah, you got a subject.
So he flogged you for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And then when, write everything you know about lower back pain, and everyone was like,
What the worst thing was being left-handed. Obviously, I'd just been like smashed on the circuit for 20 minutes, and I was like absolutely dripping in sweat. So I was writing like that, and then when he was like, yeah, we're finished, and I went in worries in the pen. People just stuck to my hand like that, and I was trying to pick it off.
All the stuff on the interview process. There was sort of thought process to each bit, but more than anything for me, it was just dedication. And it was testing the knowledge a bit, but it was more just, this is a serious process you're going through. I really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. But I really enjoyed doing them as well. And then the stage 3, we sat him down. So this is when it was more like a formal interview then. So me and Chris sat him down, grilled him a bit.
Still absolutely panting from the pull-ups.
Yes, he's still
sitting
dripping in sweat.
So you got the job anyway. And how did that come about when you found out you got the job?
I was working on Moan actually. It was one of the few times I was working on Moan because I worked as a.
It was a joiner.
Yeah, I worked in a joinery firm, and I remember I was at some empty house doing putting some bathroom floor together or something proper one of those places as well, and there's loads of them up there where there's no phone signal or anything. So it was just when you were sitting around your break and that, it was just sitting reading every single page of the Sun or something. Just reading all the Dear Deirdres and that, just knowing every horoscope, knowing your horoscope and doing the Sudokus and that. It was just awful. And I remember I sat down at lunch and that was one of the only places we got a signal roughly, and then the email came through. So first thing I did obviously was phone my girlfriend at the time. She was the first person I told, and then telling my dad just not long after that, because he worked with me as well, telling him at the end of the day, and then from there it was just a case of little checklist.
How were you bounced with it when you told him you were being a PT?
Yeah, all good. Yeah. Again, they knew from the start, and there was only about 3 or 4 people that knew from the start, and then it was the next thing after that was just obviously letting my work know and things like that. That was coming down. All kind of the last few weeks just kind of flew in. Well, it wasn't until about the last night I think back home that I realised oh shit, you're actually moving. And I was out.
It's surreal.
Yeah, it was one of my mate's birthdays on the Thursday before it, and we went out to Wetherspoons that night and we absolutely smashed it. It was supposed to just be a bit of curry and having a few beers and that, but it ended up proper messy. And then we went out for a meal again on the Friday, and it was just the fact everyone was getting up, leaving the meal, sort of saying bye to me and everything, and I was just kind of oh shit, I'm actually moving away here.
Yeah.
And then
how long was this after you got accepted?
So I think I got it was about the 18th, 19th of September or something like that. But then I got accepted. I got the email saying I'd got the job, and then I'm sure it was the Saturday the 3rd that I moved down. So about 2 weeks, two and a half weeks.
So a little bit of time to get together.
It was the situation at the time was they were after experienced PTs. So when we'd met Mike, and he had no experience PTing, but he had everything sort of personally that you'd want in a coach, and that I thought we could build on. So it was a bit of I had to sell it. We had to sell it a little bit to the high ups. He's got no experience, but he's fucking dedicated. He drove for 3 hours for both interviews, smashed them both up. And like I say, personally, I had everything that we were looking for. So we had to sell it a little bit. That's why it took a bit longer than I usually would. But it worked out alright.
Okay, take us through your first 2 weeks then, Mike, which is obviously always going to be some of the hardest times.
Yeah, rabbit in headlights, just unbelievable.
Tell us some of your experiences as far as trying to meet people, talk to people, get some clients booked in. How did you approach it?
The completely wrong way. I just literally ran about it was stuff that didn't work for me, it'll work for other people, but the biggest thing was approaching all the wrong people. But again, I didn't know anything at the time. I just was because I like weight training, I was straight into the weights area the first 2 weeks, hanging about there all night, speaking to people, trying to find out what they're training, and we tried this and we tried that. Essentially wasting my time, because as it turned out, my clientele was nowhere near that weights area. And I hid a lot, I hid away as much, especially after the first because the first couple of days I was there a lot, and I was there fairly early, staying there fairly late at night, it just got to the point where I think once I realised oh shit, this is solid, I did start to hide away. I would just,
of course,
I would make excuses. I need a day off and that. It's you've worked really about 3 hours this week. You should be having a day off at all. But yeah, no, the first couple of weeks were just a complete mess. Like it was all over the place, and it was getting told everything. Is what I mean. I was sitting down because I think you were on holiday at the time as well. My first couple of weeks, you were there for about 2 or 3 days. I think you went to Mexico or something.
Oh,
there you go. Yeah.
Take me back.
That's another podcast.
yeah. My time in Mexico.
So that's your first client then?
My first client?
Yeah, so your first person signed up.
What changed it? From you being shit, what is going on? Getting a bit of, we can say it was a bit shit advice you were getting from a couple of people, right? What changed it? What was the turning point?
I'd like to name drop it. In a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
Yeah, so it was actually sitting down with Rick
Moylan, yeah.
Of course.
Fucking hell, he gets a shout out on this Moylan, doesn't it?
It was I was like middle of January, and so obviously I went through Christmas and that, and, built a little bit of a client base, but then obviously January came, and the whole thing kind of just fell to bits again, and I just was like, oh.
Like most Christmases do for BTs, yeah.
Like obviously, starting in October was hard enough as it was, but yeah, I just felt, like fuck, here we go. Like, this is too much, and obviously I spoke to my girlfriend at the time because I was staying with her for a couple of months as well, and I was like, this is fucking too much. Like, so we decided, right, you just have to go home. Just go back, tail between your legs, go again. Like, you've learned a lot, and just try again at some point. And I thought, right, so I thought about it. I sat all day in the house just thinking about it, and then I thought, I'm going in tonight. And I walked into the gym, and it must have been 6:30 or something like that. In a busy gym, looking around, looking for either one of the, like my team leader at the time. It wasn't you, it was the team leader at the time, or one of the PTMs.
Yeah.
And
to tell them.
Yeah, that was essentially like.
So you decided you're going back.
Yeah.
Have you told your girlfriend yet?
Yeah, it was like a bit of a joint thing. Like, it was because I was almost kind of looking for her to say no, you keep going, but it got to the point where like she realised like this is.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
like
tough.
It's affecting everything. Like, it's not like you're going to work struggling, coming back, and then all that. Like, this is affecting everything. Like, it's because it will do that. Like, I think most people will start self-employed.
Consume as you done it when you're in a
new
place. Yeah.
You try and work all the time, but essentially do nothing. Like, even if you're just sitting there on like a Sunday trying to chill, but you're just constantly thinking like, I need to get this many clients. I need to get, and you don't actually switch off. So it got to the point where like we decided, just that's it, go back. So I went and looked for the PTM, couldn't find them, and Rick was there, and I remember sitting just outside the physio room at Lifestyle, and to be fair, we sat for about an hour and a half till at least 8 o'clock easily, and he just went through basically what I was doing. So I went through all of that, and he's just like you know how Rick tells it as well. It's just like, fuck that off, like it's not working. And then he kind of took me around the gym, went through things that he does to help himself, to get clients and to help make yourself known. And the biggest thing was he changed my perception of who I should be training. So this was like the biggest thing, and I always look back to this as being like the turning point. Was I then all of a sudden stopped looking at people who train the way I like to train as the people I should be training, if that makes sense. Yeah. It was like, you enjoy that training, that's fine, but you got to take into account like sort of how you are as a person, your personality, who do you get on with better, things like that. All of that stuff comes into it.
The client avatar, which we touched on in a previous episode as well.
Yeah, exactly, avatar. So he basically just got me to write down what I thought it was. He then wrote down what he thought it was. We compared the two, and I looked at his and I thought, right, I'll try that. And he walked me around the gym and he was pointing people out, asking, would you approach them? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, you should. That kind of thing, like that. They're the kind of people you should be going for. Asked me who I'd approach. I said, I'll maybe approach. Nah, leave them alone. Like, they don't, so guys in the weights area and things like that, like, I've never really had that kind of, that sort of been able to stand up as like an authority, you know what I mean, like, never had that kind of, that's what I'm looking for, that sort of alpha male kind of status thing like that. So I just was like, right, okay, from that moment on I decided, right, this is where you're looking for your clients, and everything just went from strength to strength from there. Like, so right through February, March, April, obviously I was at Body Power as well in May, and then we started the group training as well, sort of July time, and it's just the whole thing.
So you didn't look back after that?
No, not really. I mean, obviously there's been tips and everything since then, but in terms of like how I think about it, how I approach it, there's never once since then been a thought of let's quit and go home. Yeah. Like, so it was just because I was fishing in the wrong pond. Yeah. Essentially, absolutely. I spent 3-4 months doing that, so that was the point. That was the turning point for me. Yeah.
Well, another thing to point out as well within all of that business transition, Mike's been on a pretty serious physical change as well. So he was at one point you were quite overweight, weren't you?
No,
a bit tubs.
Fat bastard, yeah.
and lost some before moving to Manchester. Then we did some work together. Before the Christmas, he lost quite a lot, and then he prepped for a photo shoot to get himself in really good shape, and he did it. Got in very good shape. Did a bit of a rebound after that one, though, didn't you?
No, mate, it was ridiculous. Bad.
That was the time when you just said you didn't think about going back. I know you said to me you might go back, and got in real good shape, had his photo shoot, went home, got off his nut for a couple of days, and then come back and was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Yeah, honestly, I genuinely at one point I was so messed up in the head after that weekend. I was like sitting there. I remember sitting like a Wednesday afternoon in the middle of the gym, and obviously there's no members in. Like it's like 2 PM, just sitting on my iPad scrolling, like googling like cruise ship personal trainer jobs and that. I just didn't know what I was doing in my life. Just my whole head was messed up.
We all go through that, but then and then after that, got back into it and did what did you do? Physique,
Muscle model.
A muscle model show at Body Power last year. So he's been on a big physical transition as well as the business as well at the same time. So it's a lot to take in.
It's an awesome journey you've been on, and then obviously you're now working at a private gym. How do you find the differences between being in a big commercial gym to a smaller private gym focusing on group training?
Yeah.
Well, like I love like group training stuff. Like I've made no secret. It's like what I wanna eventually. Like it's more the community thing of it. Like I love the idea of people feeling part of something. But I think one thing I did, instantly realised was it's very easy in a commercial gym to almost just take for granted like the kind of member base almost.
Yeah.
Like there's been times where I've kind of maybe been sitting in here, maybe waiting on a client or whatever, and there's been like an hour to spare, and I'm sitting in the hotel lounge, and obviously there's like nobody there, just some cleaners or whatever, and you're just kind of sitting there on your own listening to a podcast, and you think like, what I would give just to have 20 members to speak to right now. And I would do it. I would speak to them all and get all their email addresses. And
we talked about that in the second episode, didn't we? PT sat around in a commercial gym. There's no clients. Man. There's not enough clients for everybody in here. Boy, you don't know you're born there.
It's bullshit. Yeah. There was times when I would kind of sit there and I'd be like, there's no one to speak to. And before you, like 30 people walk past you and you just sort of sit there like, I don't want to speak to. Imagine 30 people walked into this hotel, like you'd be like all over them, mate, like all chatting to everybody. So that's like the biggest thing. It's like I definitely took that for granted. Yeah. But the biggest thing for me is just probably been because we're now working in a part of like a much smaller team. Like obviously the commercial gyms, like the one obviously we were at had like 30 PTs at times.
Up to 30.
A lot of big team there, a lot of PTs. But with this one, obviously a much smaller team.
8 people in house now,
Yeah, and I think that's massive. I've always been like a big thing on. I've also had a big thing for like who you kind of spend your time with and being around a lot. And I think a lot of the guys here also we're all quite similar in the way we think as well. Like there's no real kind of conflict in terms of like ideas about how to train or how to.
There's no arguments and stuff like that.
Everyone's got
you get little bickering things in commercial gyms, don't you? No, a squat's better. No, a deadlift's better. Boring. You shouldn't have carbs after the workout. Whatever.
Can't have gluten.
Boring. We don't argue about stuff like that.
No. That's
everyone agrees on the ethos of their training, and it's all very similar.
Well, that's one of the things I've always noticed with yourself. You've always been hungry to pick people's brains, basically.
Yeah.
You've always looked to expanding your knowledge. You've been down to our place a few times. Obviously, before you came down here, you was coming down here beforehand as well.
No, I didn't.
I mean, so you obviously the last 2 years you've gone from struggling PT, very close to moving back to Scotland, to probably one of Manchester's most up and coming trainers, really in the city centre. Anyway, so what would your top tips be, really, for somebody that was in your position, starting a commercial gym, struggling a bit? What would your 5 top tips be? What changed?
5.
That's a good one.
First one is being like very clear who you want to train. Like
client avatar.
Yeah, that was the biggest.
Once again, matches because one of our previous episodes was pretty much what you're about to discuss now. Tips for somebody in a commercial gym starting out, and that was one of ours. Obviously, knowing who you're training. So
again, being very careful who you take advice from and spend your time with. Like
that's a good one.
There was when I first walked into commercial gym, there was there was one guy who just wouldn't leave me alone, trying to offer me advice. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, but at the time I was just taking everything he said, writing it down. Like, this guy's so nice. This guy's so cool.
Some of it was awful.
Yeah,
there's always one in every gym. This guy that's been there a long time who likes to advise.
It got to the point where he was advising Mike, and I had to pull Mike to the side and go, "That is shit." And I told Rick as well, when so I'd worded, because Moylan was helping us manage him.
He was just coming in. Yeah.
So I'd advised him on all the bad advice he'd been getting. So that's why we really made a big point of it.
I remember there was a point as well. I remember standing watching. I've told the story before. I think on the presentation, I was standing watching Ben train.
Ben Carter, man, business partner.
Yeah, I was watching him in a session, and like, he was always like, from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. like back to back. Yeah. And when he wasn't there working, he was either on his laptop or he was off doing other things. Like, he wouldn't just sit around. Yeah. And I remember thinking about 3 or 4 weeks in, like, I've never spoke to that guy. He's never offered any advice. Getting all uptight about it.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy's, at the door waiting for me walking in. Like, it's 8 in the morning and that. Like, it's like he knows I'm coming in. Yeah.
Come on, Mike. Come on.
He's got
all this
advice to give me. And I was like, yeah, cool. So this guy's so nice, and this guy never spoke to me. But I never thought anything too much of it. I wasn't like thinking about it. I was just kind of like, I never spoke to that guy. And then there was a team meeting, I remember, about five weeks in, and obviously Ben delivered it. And so after that, I ran up and introduced myself, like proper polite and that. Yeah. I'm Michael and that. And asked him some advice on some deadlifts or something. And he was like proper more than happy to help me, and it just like clicked. I was like, the reason he's not been standing around giving me advice is because he's not standing around doing nothing.
He's fucking busy.
Yeah, he's working. And then I made me think, like, what's this guy doing? So I started paying attention to the guy that was offering me the advice, and I realised he literally just walks about all day eating porridge oats, like does nothing. I was like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I listening to him? So yeah, advice is like massive.
Advice. So you got quite a ton of who you're training. Be careful who you listen to and take advice from the right people.
Researching who you're listening to.
Yeah.
Because there's videos, there's podcasts, there's groups, there's big
seeking
trainers.
Seeking knowledge.
Yeah. So there's loads of information out there, but just have a little look into who they are, and if you agree with them, because the information that Mike was getting told wasn't all bad. There was stuff to take from it, but it wasn't right for Mike at the time. That's all it was.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Speaking to people who've been through it and done it, really, as well as a big one.
If there's something you're wanting to do,
as
like a specialist, find the person who's doing that in your gym.
Yeah.
And approach them.
And speak to them.
Whether it's sitting down for 5-10 minutes or buying some sessions off them. I mean, a big thing there, I think right at the start as well, I spent about £300 on like a seminar, 2-day seminar.
We did Poliquin, didn't we?
Yeah. And I remember I sat and it was good stuff, but for me at the time it wasn't. I didn't need to know all that stuff. Like, that wasn't going to help me at that point. I'd have been much better taking that £300 and buying a block of 8 sessions or something off a PT there in the gym who's doing that kind of real life stuff, and that's actually like applicable to people and stuff like that. So just being looking at
just learning your craft, isn't it? Really, learning how somebody's done it that's already been successful.
Yeah.
And let's have 2 more then, Mike Wells, because obviously you went through quite a lot in that first few months. What else would you give? In fact, say somebody that was struggling right now, thinking of packing it in, what would you say?
I'd say something like this. You've got to think about. I've just said they're talking about investing in learning and things like that, but I think one quick thing to realise is initially at the start, a lot of it doesn't matter fuck what you know. It's like when I walked in, I wasn't the most knowledgeable guy about strength curves, velocity training, or macro breakdowns, and I mean I knew the absolute basics, but I think you've got to realise that it's not. That's not the most important thing. Right at the start, it's about you just got to get out and speak to people. You've got to you've got to remember people's names. They've got to know your name. You've got to be people's go-to person as much as you can. Like, it might feel a bit of a waste. You might feel at the start, you might feel like you go and speak to someone for up to half an hour or whatever, and you might be speaking or giving them all this advice, giving them links to websites and articles and videos that will help them. And then they might just walk away and say, yeah, thanks, and they walk
just
away.
Just being helpful and getting
focus on just helping people.
If you would have asked me what made Mike successful in commercial gym, and obviously one of the reasons we wanted him over here in a group situation, it's that's what he did better than 9 out of 10 PTs. If Mike walked around that gym, it's got a big space, 20 people would say hello to him, because he speaks to them every day when they're there. Ask him how they are. Ask just getting questions, even about social stuff, not just always about the gym, not trying to sell him something every time, just chatting to him, so people were open to him constantly. he was the go-to guy. That's what he did better than a lot of people. That was a big positive. Yeah.
At the start as well, like don't try and approach people and talk about training. Like I mean, I know this is just obviously my opinion. This will work for me, but
that's all it is.
I don't like approaching someone and try to critique their deadlift. Like you don't, especially in that sort of city centre gym. Now we've got a lot of people like top end jobs and a lot of responsibility. People that you go up to someone and ask how their day is. You could be the first person to ask how. I've asked how their day is all week. And you could be the first person to have smiled at them all week. Do you know what I mean? Like and that'll make a big impression. Like you don't have to go over there and start talking about activation and that stuff. There will come a time when that stuff's important, but at the initial time it's just a case of like speaking to someone just normal. How are you? How's your day been? Like what do you do? How long have you done that for? Do you enjoy it? Just get them
positivity into people like being around you. One thing that we've not touched on before actually is this is a fact. Everybody's favourite word is their own name. Yeah. So you saying their name to somebody is actually going to suddenly make them like
the word I is apparently the most used word in the English dictionary as well. In the English language, the word I, like I do this. People love talking to themselves.
Yeah, they do.
It could be a chance for someone to vent. Like they could have just had the worst day ever. If you go over there and start talking to them about like how their cortisol's a bit high and that, like they'll be telling you to fuck off, or at least.
Look, like you say, there's a place for that somewhere. But not necessarily straight away.
You could have 10 times of an impact on them by just saying how are you.
That
kind of thing makes a big difference. So I think that's big. Just realising that it's not about what you know at the start. It's just getting in there and speaking to people.
So what's tip number 5?
To take yourself seriously. Like it's
professional.
Yeah. So there was one thing about a year ago I noticed. Obviously I'm not going to drop any names, but I noticed someone doing it, and it was invoicing with like almost just nicknames on the invoice. Like
things like that really get to me.
So it was, I mean, like stuff like that just annoys me, like because and it's even like, and I've done it a couple of times, but it's just about making sure that like, even if you're going to be on social media and that, like, just make sure everything just looks professional. Like don't be kind of slanging up and like using and loads of stupid little spelling mistakes and grammar errors and that.
He hates bad grammar, man. Really gets you, doesn't it?
And the thing is, I noticed it there. I did it there. Actually, I did it on Instagram.
It annoys me, and I'm bad at it. So I need somebody picking me up.
But and things like programs, invoices,
branding and stuff.
Everything. Just take yourself like really seriously.
It's a business. You're not paying you to train them.
Exactly.
We were talking the other day about people training, what you're wearing, how you look when you train people. Wearing hats and fucking, just rocking up and whatever. And
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think like if you've got, say, you're getting to a point with a client or a group of clients, whatever, a group training thing, and you're thinking, right, I'm going to have a word here. They're just not taking this seriously. But if you're sitting with a snapback on backwards, they're like, why would they take you seriously? You got to sort of like make that impression, like how you dress, how you hold yourself.
I think you used to really get on you as well. People turning up at the time of the client as well, isn't it?
Oh mate, don't get me started on that. That's like, unless you're in a session, like you shouldn't be. Like if your first session of the day is at 11 o'clock in the morning, there is no excuse for you not to be there at least 10:30.
Mate, if it's at 6, you should be there at 10 to 6.
Yeah,
simple as.
If you've got sessions maybe 8, 9, and 10 back to back,
and they roll in right after a client.
You might be a 1 or 2 minutes late, but your client's going to understand that.
Yeah, but they'd see you and you can greet them and you can say, I'll be with you in 2 seconds. That's not an issue.
To rock up at the time of a session, and I just think like you're spending the first 5-10 minutes.
There was a guy did it every session
that's
in lifestyle, and it really fucking got on Mike's nerves. So the client is waiting for the PT. The client would be there 5 minutes early, and the PT, session's at 11. PT rocking at 11, not 10:59. 11
to a shop, and they're putting the shutters up as you get there, and you stood outside. It just feels really like
you're the first one in. So especially if the client's waiting and PT walks in and he's got his coat on and that, he's got his bag. The PT and the client might be looking at his watch and it's 11:30 in the morning. Like,
it just kills the illusion of the professional service.
The professional standard. We always bring things to other industries, right? If you turned up to your dentist for your appointment at 10 o'clock, you get to the dentist early, right? Nobody gets there at the time. No. You're to the dentist and your appointment's 10 o'clock. You get there at 10:02, and you see the dentist walk in with a fucking briefcase at 10:05. You are pissed. Like, you're not happy with that service.
You're not going to let that guy start sticking needles in you.
No.
Professional, and you do believe this. Not professional, you believe that they're not very good at the skill either.
Yes.
Because it's. I mean, basically what you're saying is getting the basics right, and if you can be there on time, look the part, everything about your service, and it costs nothing most of the time to have the perfect professionalism. It will add so much to your service.
Timekeeping is massive for me. I used to be really bad. I was standard 5 minutes late for every session for the first year or so. My PT was fucking awful, to the point where the clients were making jokes about it, and I used to not think it was a problem. But there was a reason I was a 20 quid an hour PT then, and because things like that, people didn't take me serious enough if I tried charging the money I charge now. They wouldn't accept that sort of service. It's basic customer service. I hate that one. And but taking yourself seriously and treating yourself like a professional.
That's like invoices, everything from the start. Another bugbear is like texting bank details. I'll text you the bank details. Like, it's not eBay. Like, you're not fucking like selling something second hand. Like, it's a business transaction. It'd just be.
Need to know the T's and C's and that.
Yeah, contract there. Get an invoice. That ain't being fancy. Maybe just a logo or
you can
get logo if you've not got a logo.
Yeah, template done.
I think numbers on
numbers or Excel or whatever. They've got templates for invoices. Easy done.
But send one of them out. Full name on it. No like nicknames.
Professional. Dear Michael.
No Mike.
Same standards as like a lawyer firm. Or a different service.
Like getting hey James, here's your invoice like that. Hey dude, here's your invoice like that. Just get full name in there like it's professional.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is another one that PT's doing it. I've texted you the invoice, I've texted you the details. You need to pay on the first, right? So on the third, they go, you haven't paid. Oh yeah, mate, I'll pay tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't expect a professional payment if you're not delivering professional service.
No, definitely.
It's too easy to like look at, and I've done it from the past as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been there. I've been there.
And I mean, obviously, this is probably something else as well. Maybe goes on another point, but another big thing I'm really like big on is no matter what happens with whether it's sort of, like especially someone like you say a client leaving. It's quite common as well, and I've seen it a lot in the commercial gym where people are like, well, they couldn't afford it, and that's it. And you're like, right, okay, but even if that is the case, it's still a chance for you to look back and see, right, what could I have done differently with that? And if the more you do it, the more you'll start to kind of actually see maybe the real reason they left. Like it might generally be because they can't afford it.
Yeah, they can't afford PT, but what other fucking options have you got? Get your menu in place, mate.
Or is it just generally because they just don't value what you're doing at that price anymore? So maybe what the service you're giving them is just not like they don't want to pay that money for it. So it's a chance for you then to look back and think, right, what could I have? What was that? Maybe I was late that one time, or maybe I sort of talked rubbish that whole session. Like we spoke about
perceived value, innit? It's as simple as
we spoke about it back in kind of May. Like I lost a couple of clients, and at the time I was like, it's just busy and things. But then I started to actually reflect on it, and I realised it was because I spent the whole session talking about prep. Like I spent the whole session talking
about you,
how excited I was to get a kilo of potato at the weekend and a tub of sorbet, and I just remember like they don't give up.
They didn't relate to it, no.
They need to relate to you, of course.
Exactly. So
one of my big ones with being professional is taking your shit into sessions. How are you doing, mate? Yeah, I'm alright. How are you doing? I'm really tired. I had a shit week, mate.
That's exactly what I did on some sessions.
You're venting on them. All that fucking energy is just going.
Positivity.
These
are all things that are so easy to change, and it takes you from a below level 1 PT straight up to level 3. You know what I mean? So easy to change. Just having that minimum standards for yourself.
So to recap on what Mike's top tips are: understanding your client avatar, who you're training, who you're looking at, and having a product for that person. Be careful who you listen to, and take advice from the right people. Surround yourself with the right people. Seek the knowledge from the right people. Speak to everybody in the gym, the commercial gym. Speak to fucking everybody.
And even in a non-commercial gym, getting out there and speaking.
Of course. It relates. We've done before. Speak to everybody. But then, even still, you know what I love about the having a studio, having the group training in the studio. Everybody fucking speaks to everybody. When my PT client comes in after the group, we speak to everybody together. Everyone has a joke. When Mike's in there with a client and I'm in there with a client, the client I speak to Mike's client, Mike speaks to my client. It's not like don't speak to my clients. Like, don't be trying to poach my clients. Like, everyone has a conversation with everybody, and the whole atmosphere is nicer. If you can create just a little bit of that in a commercial gym for a few people, that when they go, they know they can say hello to Mike, and he's a nice guy, and he's going to be helpful for the day. Yep. It's going to be a positive.
I think as well, like, even with that one there, everybody. Everybody. Like, even if people you think, right, that guy, I don't really want to train that guy, or that guy doesn't really look like he'd want PT. Like, yeah, there might not be a client avatar, but it doesn't mean you still should say, hey, how are you?
Oh,
like,
mate, I've got
everybody.
I've got one of the best ones in Virgin. When I worked in Virgin Active, there was this guy there, a foreign student. He was from Kuwait he was, and he was a bit scruffy and he was a bit overweight, and his English wasn't great, but he was a very nice guy. And he'd been speaking to a PT about training, and the PT had fobbed him off. And I sat down next to him just on a table, because he was sat down and I was just going to sit and do a bit, and just got chatting to him, and we talked about, he was big into cars, we started talking about racing and whatever, and he was big into horse racing, so we were talking about that and I asked him a few questions. He bought 16 sessions a week for him and his cousins. It turned out he was the fucking... So in Kuwait they have like a parliament, like a guy who's in charge, and they have their family basically.
Like a royal family? Like
a royal family sort of thing. And he was like the cousin of one of those. He was absolutely minted. And the PT had looked at him and gone, he can't speak English, and asked. Looks a bit scruffy, off. He bought 16 sessions a week off me for about 6 weeks for him and like 3 other people. It was insane.
Ridiculous.
Speaking to fucking everybody. You never know who they are. You never know what's going to happen. Even if he didn't buy anything, I'd made his day a little bit better by asking about his day.
It makes you feel better anyway.
And he's had a better day. And like you said, that might be the first time that week somebody's gone, how are you doing? Or you could be the first person in the gym to go, how's your day?
Yeah.
How's your training going? Good? Nice one. Have a good time.
Next one is, you know nothing. So just understanding.
I've written it like that. Yeah. So understanding that you don't have to know it all, and to know where that information.
There's time later.
Working with what you got, and obviously, as you said earlier, still continuing to seek knowledge and looking to develop.
A part of that is knowing who you're training. If you're after training athletes and you need to know some advanced stuff, and you need to know that if you're training the average person, they don't need to know about the cortisol levels straight away. Maybe they will at one point, but right now they need to be thinking about how often the training, fucking calorie deficits, and all the basics that we take for granted because we know. They don't need to know the advanced stuff.
I wrote a thing on that today. Actually, it's quite today. I was like basically trying to sort of like tell someone that you know no carbs in the morning and things like that. And it's like but they're sleeping like an hour and a half every night. Doesn't matter if they're having a couple of porridge in the morning.
Get the big things in place.
Exactly. But that's all you need to know as well. Just take those simple things, and just play your strengths as well. Like my strength was, like you say, speaking to people. Yeah. So I'm not going to go hide away. Like I'm going to just get out there and make sure people know me.
And the last one is be professional. Take yourself seriously. Treat it like a business. Don't treat it like it's just chatting to people and getting paid for stand and count reps. Is what people think, isn't it?
Well, thanks for putting in, Mike. Anyway, thanks for telling your story.
Excellent.
Awesome story. Those to take away for everybody.
Cool. That's us out, yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
See you next time.
Thanks for coming.